Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive with myself, Erin Chandler. I am so pleased you are here. We are on the cusp of the blue moon, the second supermoon that is happening in August. August, I knew was going to be a huge month, and I'm sure most of you have felt that as well. Between disclosures, awakenings, purgings, the sturgeon moon, stirring everything up, preparing us for all of these different things. It can be very fiery. It can hold a lot of emotions when we get into the intensities of all of this energy. So it's a lot. So if you're wondering what the heck is going on, is what I'm hearing somebody saying, what the heck is going on? It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of things being stirred up. It's a lot of things that are out of alignment, coming into alignment. We cannot come into alignment if we haven't identified or seen all the things that are out of alignment. So I'm seeing the spectrum. I'm just going to roll with full moon messages for all of you right now. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. As most of you know, on this channel, I am picking up on a lot of your different energies, the different emotions, the different feelings. Sometimes it's telepathic communication. These are all different things. The whole purpose of this and the purpose of part of my gifts is to be able to relay the information that helps you assimilate, is what I am hearing, assimilate or put together or identify pieces of your journey. The next couple of weeks, you guys will notice that the videos touch on a lot of different things. The Dark Energy series, past lives, we're going to talk about animals and guides. We're going to talk about mediumship, psychic pathways, psychic development. We're going to talk about all these different things, bringing in the light and the awareness. And this is important because we're taking our everyday experiences to unpack them. So for many of you, I'm seeing this. For those of you that are way out of alignment, they're showing me a chakra energy system. If there's a chakra that's out here, your other chakras are going to compensate for it. So for example, if everything is wonderful in your business and your family and all of these other things, but there's this one aspect that's out of alignment, that's being fine-tuned right now. Not only is it being fine-tuned, it's pulling out. I have the legions of light here. We are illuminating. That is the whole purpose of the moon, is to illuminate. I hear my daughter from a channel I did a while ago. I will post that below. A number of years ago, actually, and I've come back to it a number of times. And in it, she says, I want you to bloom like the flowers are blooming. I want you to shine like the sun and illuminate like the moon. Because when we shine like the sun, we have the ability to illuminate like the moon. The moon relies on the reflective natures of the sun, is what I am hearing, and full circle. That's why it is a continuation. In addition, I want to say one of the images I'm getting right now is somebody, it is the deep, dark night. And if you imagine you are laying down in the waters, the dark, murky waters, but it's not murky, it's very clear. It's just very clear where it's dark. And this is such beautiful imagery. They're showing me the whole night sky. There's no street lights, there's no city lights, there's no lights from somebody's houses. It's complete darkness. And the stars are shining so brightly, and there is trillions of them. They are everywhere. Love lights, star seeds. There are millions, billions of you on the planet, star seeds and light workers. Some have not awakened to this, and many have, but there is many, many more of you than any of you recognize. Release the limitations of what is and isn't a light worker and a starseed, what is and isn't the right way or the wrong way, and you will find that the light illuminates the pathways for you. At this time, we are in a great state of illumination. This means coming into deep truth. Seek not to be righteous, seek the truth. Once you have the truth, and perhaps that is the time to be righteous, let me tell you, says Ellen. So lean into that, because as we have things illuminated, it illuminates stories, it illuminates understanding, it illuminates past lives. And I really want to touch on past lives in this one more in depth in one of the other videos that are coming up, explaining this process and how to utilize it to your benefit. Because at this time, friends, anything that's illuminated, anything that's coming up, shine bright like a diamond. All those beautiful stars in the night sky is illuminating that for you. That's you illuminating the light within. Beautiful star seeds, love lights. I'm hearing over and over and over again. The Planetary Commission wishes to speak on this. The Planetary Commission is often misunderstood. This is a collective of evolved planets with different star seeds and beings of light that come to attend the collective consciousness. We are at Desha. They're showing me like, it's kind of like a council of light. For those of you who have your own council of light, side note, we all have our own councils of light. And yes, we are mixing and matching between councils of lights as we interact and interconnect with each other. So they come in as we need to. Again, this is actually another video that's more in depth that's coming up that really hones down into understanding who your guides are, why they're there, when you have a guide stepping in to help you. That's a whole other video. So we don't need to go there. This is simply illuminating for you this time frame. The ability to raise your frequency. So the reason I talk about clearing your energy, clearing out the house of self is when we have a higher frequency and when we have clarity and clearness in our energy, we are easily able to identify things, identify other people, identify patterns, identify any wounds that we might have. Right now, we are transcending the wounded CHIRON, the wounded healer. This Ava says, this is what this message needs to be about, Mom. Okay, so we're transcending the wounded CHIRON, the wounded healer. Now, this is very important because upon the earth plane, embedded throughout consciousness is all healers throughout all times, throughout all cultures and races and belief systems who are here now for a great awakening. It is transcending the wounded healer of CHIRON. Often when we are wounded, says Ava, often when we are wounded, she says, we end up projecting that out to others. We also end up projecting our belief system out to others because that happens to be our truth at this time. The purpose of these past lives being illuminated and things dropping in, which we will talk about in the Soul Blueprint channel. That's an exciting one, friends. Side note, very illuminating. Anyways, we'll go back, Mo, says Ava. The whole purpose of all of these things is to illuminate, to release, and to let go, and to transmute it. Oftentimes, when we are transcending the wounded healer, our wounds is what comes up. These are both from this life and of past. As most of you know, you have had many, many lives where there has been wounded healer. There are aspects that did not get healed in the physical form. When we move out of the body and back into consciousness with the one infinite creator, regardless of whether we take a body or a sense of consciousness onto another planet, some of you intersperse your lives here on the earth plane between lives with lives on other planets. This is very important. The Planetary Commission is saying at this time, those of you who have remembered your lives on other planets, it is time to begin recalling those nuggets of information. I'm seeing the Golden Palace. It is time for you to begin recalling all of the vast wisdom and knowledge that you have within you. This is why you have it. All of consciousness actually resides within you. Things that you wish to remember outside of you, it lies within you. This does not mean that you do not have other people outside of you helping you, directing you, guiding you, leading you, giving you an aha moment, or triggering the wounds. When we are healing the wounded CHIRON or the wounded healer, because many, many other planets are highly evolved and have already moved beyond the Great Awakening and the Great Purging, they attend the collective consciousness because they have been there, because they understand that on the human plane that it's much more lower density. That is changing. That has changed. That has already begun. The shift has already happened. It's not going to look the way that people think it does. A lot of people are not going to expect this. And in addition, Ava says, there are many of you who see things and you are seeing correctly and accurately. Some of you have placed incorrect timelines on it. This is through no fault of your own. There are many things at play. There are many people on many different timelines. For example, the cycles. You cannot miss a cycle. This is important because as a collective consciousness, as others move through the cycles in time, you will, in tandem, if you are on a lower timeline, begin to elevate your timeline because the people who are already on a higher timeline are literally continuing on that. at what we do here changes what's in the future. That which is in the future changes what happens now. And the past, we are rewriting the past if we are here in the human form. And the only thing that I can remember as a wounded healer is the wounds, for example. Ava says that's correct. And that is predominantly what happens on the earth plane. This is done through biblical aspects. A lot of wounded healer, a lot of division, a lot of different things stand up there. Ask yourself this question. Wow, this came through in a channel for a lady a number of months ago. And I'm being reminded of this right now. Ask yourself a question. If someone is tricked, do you think the one infinite creator would punish the person who is tricked? The saying, we all preach that God and love and the one infinite creator and loves all things and forgives all things and has compassion. And yet here we stand on this earth plane. And what are we doing? We are judging. We are separating. We kill each other. We hate on each other. We judge each other. Ithaca Asha'a, we're pulling up all of these wounds. The blue moon is the ultimate. The blue moon, the second of the full, you will notice the first is a sturgeon, which began at the beginning of the month of August 2023. This allowed us to dig up, stir up more clearly to be able to illuminate that which needs to be purged and transmuted. When we reach the blue moon, think about a blue ray frequency, which is the origination. It is ray 1. Ray 1 is the origination. On the third dimensional, third density, we are actually taking the original experience, rate 1, and the second ray, which is the duality. And in the third density, the whole purpose is to transmute these, to create the balance. I'm seeing the yin and yang, a deep understanding for the purposes of evolution. The earth plane will appear to be in great chaos. There are many, many things that are happening. The chaos is not just through natural disasters and man-made disasters. It will ripple through consciousness. There is no one that will be untouched. Whether you have awareness or not is irrelevant. Go back to the timeline, says Ava. The timelines, if we look at the upper timelines, I have one of my guides stepping in now. This is what unity consciousness is about. It is not about dividing and separating and segregating. It is about removing the divisions and the dividers and recognizing when you think a thought and I think a thought, I hear your thought and you hear my thought. When there is a deep, dark, dense energy, it is felt in consciousness, just as the most highest light frequency is felt in consciousness. You will notice this is the aspects of duality. Duality is going to get greater and stronger, not because we need to judge each other or hurt each other or kill each other or blame each other, because we need to transmute it and reconcile it and take a higher power perspective. Anything that you have dealt with, love, light, dear hearts, is for this purpose. This is the intention, intended soul purpose is for elevation. Some of you are called to stand up and say no to darkness. This was on the last channel, which was very emotional and intense. And I trust that it reached a lot of you. I see there's a lot of comments on that video. You guys are amazing. I just want to tell you, but I also need to tell you, you are transcending the wounded healer. Those of you who have experienced persecution in previous lives, you will have experienced it in this life for the purposes of healing it. All things at once. Past, present, and future, they're all interconnected. At the Isha'a, they're showing me the hologram. When we come to the present moment, we are able to separate it out. And that's the whole purpose of illumination. When some of you, I'm being told somebody on here, you need to play, you need to go out and dance, you need to go sing. This is so interesting. This is coming through because I know for me, I have to schedule time to play. I have to schedule time where I tune everybody out. I tune all the people's energy out off YouTube. I tune all of my readings, my spiritual clearings, all of my community's energies. I tune them all out and I literally go out and play. I'll go out dancing. I'll go out in communities. I'll go out and do frog races at a festival. This is what we did this weekend. And frogs are important because frogs represent clearing out the clutter. There's a commercial right now on TV where I can't remember. I think it's a Walmart commercial. And this has been sticking out for me for about a month now because I don't watch TV. I came across this on YouTube, actually. It just played this commercial, but apparently it's also on TV. So in the commercial, it says, Ava is going to need more green crayons because of all the frogs. So I just want you to stop here for a second and illuminate. Let me, mom, she says, let me illuminate this for you. Frogs represent clearing out the clutter, and green represents the heart chakra. We are continually clearing out heart chakras. Itika'a. As my mom knows, I am a heart healer. That is part of the magic that comes in. That is why I aid her. That is why I'm here. That is why I left, in order to help other people for the culmination of the Great Awakening. This is this is a beautiful interconnection. There are many, many, many. She wishes to be clear. There are many bereaved parents on the planet at this time. Their journey has been for the aid of this Great Awakening and aiding others in that process of healing. This is not the first time that that's in the past. Say it now, says Ava. Okay, this is in the past life channel. But anyways, so we're going to say this now. This is not my first life, my friends, where I have lost a child. The beauty of remembering lives, the beauty of knowing when I come into contact with people, or if I sense another person, is having the awareness of any wounds that have been created in the past or in a past life or in a parallel life, any of those things. The ability to be able to see those things allows me to take you've got a higher power, a higher perspective. It allows me to know exactly what the wound is. It allows me to know that this person is here so we can heal this, and then I can let them go. It allows me to see, oh, this is the juxtaposition that I'm working on. It allows me to heal, transcend the wounded healer, because a lot of these dynamics, I haven't always been a white woman. I chose this avatar in this lifetime for a very specific reason. And I've lived in many lives, and I've had many avatars and many cultures and many beliefs. That also is past life things that have also come up, which is in the past life channel, really talking about this in detail, which is wild, amazing, crazy stuff. And I love that. Weird and awesome. So this really is a culmination lifetime for many of you. The Great Awakening, when we're elevating to a higher consciousness, this means we have to be able to assimilate. That's a word that keeps coming up. Assimilate that which has happened in the past, that which has happened in this life, in order to evolve it. If we cannot get past that division, this means we kind of get stuck in a reality of everything is divided. But I'm here for unity. I'm here for transcendence. I'm here for the ascension process. I'm here for the Great Awakening, and I'm here to offer out my hand to everybody else who's also doing this. These are all inter-soul connections. We're all in this together is actually what that means. So go back, says Ava. She wants to talk about the past lives one more time. She says, if most of you could recognize when you are struggling with experiences with other people, look upon it with love. Always come back to the remembering, no matter how dark something appears. This is a relational aspect for somebody. And I'm seeing somebody riding a bike, and this is not leisure riding a bike. This is like all in. I'm doing a marathon. I got all the gear. It's my hobby. It's my jam. It's my physical exercise. I feel like this message might be for you, because that's really clear. I'm seeing somebody doing that right now. It appears to be a masculine, but this can also be for a divine feminine if that is your jam. So the thing that I'm getting very clearly is all of our relationships are showing us something. They're showing us something about ourselves. They're showing us something about the past. They're showing us something about what we wish to create and what we don't wish to create. Sometimes they're showing us our wounds. Sometimes they're showing us profound love. Sometimes they're showing us hope, faith, help, and love. Sometimes they're showing us where we need those things, or to cultivate those within us, or there's a lack there. All of these relational aspects are important. The aspecting of past lives and the illumination of the blue moon represents rate 1 blue ray frequencies, which is the origination, third dimension, duality, single. This means here, the origination, ray 1, think about it, ray 1. Ray 1 is no more important than all the other rays, friends. It's not about a hierarchy in that aspect. Moving away, Ava says we must move away from these ideas of spiritual hierarchies. Are there different levels to ascension and evolution and different timelines? Absolutely. That does not mean there's a hierarchy of I'm better than you or I know more than you. And here's why. We all have our own knowing within us. What is right for me may not be right for you. And what is right for you may not be right for me. That does not mean that your way is wrong. And it doesn't mean that my way is wrong. It simply means we are two fractals of light experiencing two opposite ends of the spectrum, experiencing in ways that brings all this beautiful knowledge and understanding for the evolution of consciousness. It's the one that Ava says, best part. She says, Mom, this is the best part. She says, think about our collective consciousness like this big ball of beautiful lights and beautiful people and all these different things. It's this beautiful ball of all of us. And we're individual little marbles, all placing that makes up this collective consciousness, which is all fractals of light. Your experience over here that is so different than mine, that maybe I don't understand. And my experience over here that is so different than yours, and maybe you don't understand mine. It actually doesn't matter. And here's why it doesn't matter. My experience at this end of the spectrum and your experience at that end of the spectrum actually create the entire full picture, a complete understanding of all different facets of the human dimensions and the planes, the way that psychology works as an evolution state. We don't move into evolution from a highly evolved state. We move into evolution to move through the evolutionary process. These are all processes. Some of you have come to the highest frequency timeline for the earth plane in order to help others do that. That is the entire purpose. We are a collective consciousness. This is also why one person's manifestations can affect another person's manifestations. This is why we are all called to clear the house of self. This is ray 1. So if your ray 1 experience is hurt, war, I'm seeing all these things. I'm hearing the Huns, like go back, go way back, go back before those times, says Ava. If all of our experiences of ray 1 on this earth plane, because it goes way beyond what we have been told or taught, or even can potentially even logically figure it out. I'm like this, right? We would be mind blown if we could pull in everything, everybody's experience. And oftentimes I've asked myself, why do I have all these people's experiences and all these cultures and beliefs and deities and gods and goddesses? Why am I accessing all these different things? Because for Erin here, if you look upon the earth plane, most people have one specific group they channel, one specific person. And I'm like, oh, I got all these. And it appears that I'm all over the place, but I'm actually here about unity. And I'm here to connect all the dots so that people understand and recognize you are all interconnected, and all of your experiences, not only do they matter, they are moving into, I'm being reminded of Marcus Aurelius, the melting pot of diamonds. That's so funny that's coming in right now. It's moving everything in because your experience is invaluable and my experience is invaluable. You can't put a price tag on it. You can't, I'm hearing a song lyrics, because it ain't about the money, money, money. I just want to make the world change, forget about the price tag. That's the song that's playing. It's about unity. Your experience and my experience is it's priceless. It matters. And most of us, when we think that we don't matter, or we feel like we don't matter, because that is the life experiences, that is I want to say the karma that's been playing out, for lack of a better term, because karma is going to be phased out, will no longer be needed as we move through this great awakening and evolution. Instead of it serving its purpose, that stopped a little bit ago. It stopped serving its purpose the way it was intended to because of the splinters and the misuse of hidden agendas and hidden things like that. So we awakening, we're moving beyond that. In this aspect, she says, we're looking at the unity and putting all of these things into the pot. We all help each other. We all recognize that your experience is so valuable. I can learn so much. It may not resonate with me or be for me, but I know it's for other people and it resonates with other people. That's why I say, if you, as a guide, what I always say is, hey, if you resonate with the monks, go see the monks. That's part of your path. They have great teachings that help all of us. If yours is Hinduism or the occult, go over to the occult, learn those different tools, learn those different aspects. If it's the chakra system, if it's mediumship, whatever it is, we have all these incredible teachers and masters on the earth plane at this time to help all of us do this together. We are a collective consciousness. It's recognizing this. It's understanding we are resolving ray 1. We are resolving ray 1 based on the duality of it, right? Think about collective consciousness. Ava says the duality is what is being transcended at this time. all consciousness on the earth plane at this time will be able to evolve it. This is why it is a collective consciousness, and it's also why we are doing it collectively. Although we are all interconnected and come from the same one infinite creator and will always move back to the one infinite creator, this is simply a moment in time to reconcile all of those past lives. Karma is no longer needed when we have an awareness of the past lives. Illumination becomes fast, quick, and easy. She says there is no need to hate, to suffer, to do all of these things or project at other people when we have the illumination through the awakening of the God's head within. This is all part of the divine plan, is what I am hearing. Things that have not made sense, things that we may not have been able to put together for quite some time during our lives, it will be illuminated. Ava says it will be illuminated to the point that it brings you to a much higher understanding and evolution. This allows all those connected to you to either fall off or the ACA cords to be transmuted with it. When you are dealing with people in relational aspects, go back to the biker, Ava says, the person on the bike. I don't know who this is, but my daughter is very clear that she needs to speak to this person because she has a message for you. All of the relational, relative activities in terms of relationships, they're intended to highlight, illuminate, and heal things. This does not mean you don't love. This does not mean you don't commit to loving yourself. I don't know why, but she makes me feel like it's a little bit bumpy. And she says this person's going through a lot of bumpiness, questioning. Are you sure about this? That's another thing that's coming in for somebody else. Are you sure? Are you sure? How many times does the universe have to deliver to you the messages for you to be sure? And we all go through that on an intuitive journey because we're learning to trust ourselves. I will link the Trusting Your Guidance video at the end of this. It's one of the really basic foundations of the stuff that I teach about intuitive realms, opening up to it, all of those different things. But this is important because when we're in a bumpy ground, this is a place where we kind of lack faith, or we lose hope, or we feel confused, or we feel lost. But the truth is, you're not lost. You're losing all the versions of you that do not make sense and are out of alignment with this duality aspect from the Ray 1 creation. We are remembering the past lives, says Ava. Your Ray 1, I understand now. It's understanding your Ray 1, the people you have relationships with are showing you something and teaching you something. It's time for the illumination to become more open. Ava says it's time for the light to stream in, because when we have a higher frequency, the illuminations happen like this. And it's clear and it's concise, it feels light and it's easy. And suddenly when you get that last piece, all the other pieces fall into place. It's like, oh, I had that piece in the wrong place. This piece was definitely in the wrong place. And that piece I couldn't place. When you have this illumination, and I'm hearing drop-ins, many of you are just going to have drop-ins like, oh my gosh, that's what that was for. That's part of the transcendence and the integration and understanding from the original experience. So for those of you who are wounded Chiron, transcending that, she says, Ava says, I need you to look upon every person you have a relational aspect with, no matter how difficult, no matter how frustrating, no matter how dark or duality it may feel. If you simply focus your awareness on that person and something that is beautiful and loving. She says, for example, when we have a parent-child relationship, it's easy to get caught up in that and create dynamics and create karma and have a lot of frustration, and there's a power struggle. There can be all these things in parenting relationships, and this isn't for everybody. But Ava says, the whole purpose of that, when you're faced with those things, sometimes you need to look upon this and shine light and love on them. Remember them in your memory. Remember their laughter. How beautiful is their laughter? Remember something incredible, an incredible memory that you had with them that was just so peaceful, so in alignment, and so loving. Begin there, because if we're being faced with all these things, the Ray ones, all the struggles, all the frustrations of ourselves, we must remember the good things. Because the moment you turn your focus, your energy, and your awareness to having love in your heart for somebody that you have had frustration with or struggled with, this changes the frequency and the dynamic. Think about ACA cords, says Ava. If you have children, you likely have ACA cords with them. That is simply a buildup. That's an old Hawaiian teaching. That's in the cord cutting videos if you wish to go back. scroll through the videos through my channel, you'll see there's a lot of actual channels and descriptions and explaining in detail what these cords are, what they mean, how they work, what to do with them, how to relinquish them. When we're talking about these kind of relationships and dynamics with people that we have, when you have a transference of energy, I personally like to have no transference of energy. That's just me. But for most of us, we have them because we have children and we have families and we have lives and we have coworkers and we have peers. And all these people are showing up to help you transcend. All these people are showing up to evolve too. All these people are showing up to heal their wounds at the same time. Have compassion for each other. Send that love. Bring your focus to something that you love about somebody. And I've actually tested this out and tried this, my friends, with somebody that I had a lot of frustrations with. I struggled a lot. And when I stopped and focused on the person and remembered all of the good qualities about them, there's good and bad to everybody. Nobody's perfect. That's the beauty of being a human being. I get to have compassion for everybody, including myself. There's no knocking stuff over here because nobody's perfect. We're all learning. We're all evolving. We've all made a mistake. But what's a mistake? It's a mistake. You get to do a retake. You get to do a whole new movie with a whole new take if you want to. It's not the end of the world. It's not that. It comes up as healing and evolving. We all have these different aspects. If we can focus on the thing that you love about them, something that reminds you of the deep compassion that you have for them, remind yourself of all the good qualities that they have, because again, everybody has great things and everybody has things that's like, yeah, I'm not so keen on that. We all have it. All of us. We have all those different dynamics within us. And that's okay. That's what that's supposed to be. We're reconciling the duality, right? How do you identify good from bad if there's nothing to even identify it with? That is the juxtaposition. And being told, again, the person riding a bike, your focus on the beautiful things about the people, whether it's your enemies, whether it's family dynamics, whether it's frustrations, whether it's hurt and wounds, for you to send love out, to send that out, to remind yourself of that beautiful, innate, divine spirit that lives within them, no matter how they show up in the world, you'll notice the dynamic beginning to change. You bring out the best in the other person when you do that. And why is this? I'm pointing it out this way because when we bring out the best in another person, you're actually bringing out the best in yourself. That's actually what's happening. When I focus on the beautiful things, when I focus on the wonderful things, and some of you are going to give, oh, I'm hearing some of you are going to have 1,000,001 excuses. Well, this is over and over, and I can't seem to get past this, and all those things. Well, we can't seem to get past that because we keep going back to the same thing of I can't get past it. If it says it's time to move forward and on from that, focusing on the love, focusing on all those things. And I will tell you guys, I understand this, like being relentlessly, daily, for years, having intentional projections at me and hate. I understand how difficult it is to transcend something like that and to forgive on a continuous basis over and over and over. That is not easy, but it's doable. It's very doable. And that's actually the key, says Ava, is recognizing if something can relentlessly and continually happen that feels like it's a cycle, guess what? Guess what else can happen continuously? Guess what else can happen for a brand new cycle? The exact opposite. If that exists, so does this. Law of polarity, law of opposites, however you want to look at it. If that train exists where it's the same thing over and over again, it can also be a train of the same thing over and over again of a completely opposite experience. We are transcending the wounded healer at this time. We are illuminating all of the Ray 1, the origination of wounds that have happened on the earth plane, both from past lives and this lives in this. We are also awakening. The veil is being removed for many people to aid in this awakening. When we say the next wave of souls is ready, the Planetary Commission has a huge green light for me right now. When we say love lights, that we are moving through an awakening, that illumination is allowing you to access pieces and parts of your consciousness that were not accessible for a time, either due to different life experiences, due to manipulation and coercion, because some of you have experienced that, or simply some of the dynamics were not ready. Remember, if you wish to manifest something, we must align things for you. All of your manifestations include other people. If you decide your manifestation must come around with a certain person who is not meant to be part of your manifestation and who you are continually attempting to energetically manipulate to be part of your manifestation, you will never manifest that. And in addition, it creates chaos and karma and conflict. Focus on your manifestations and trust that the universe will bring you exactly who you need, what you need, and how you need it, rather than deciding it looks like this, or it has to be this person, or it has to be this way, because that's the thing we have to let go of. These illuminations at this time will be massive on a grand scale. This is also why we require the teachers for balancing and strengthening the energetic planes. Side note, that's a very specific message for somebody. We need that because so many people will be awakening to this. The duality will become very, very powerful in order to transcend it, to reconcile it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, regardless of how it looks like, to look upon it with the eyes of the divine, of the macro. Tuning into your guides and your inner awareness allows you to be able to really root and anchor these different energies. Be aware that all of the heart woundings, Ava says, heart woundings, heart chakra, Ava needs more green crayons because of all the frogs. Sometimes the frogs are people outside of you. Sometimes the frogs are limitations that we have within us. Both and, says Ava. Everyone on the earth plane will have experienced both and, some more predominantly outside of them, some more predominantly inside of them. For those of you who have been able to master the interior realms, you will find that your greatest struggle will not be with your interior realm, but with the projections of others or other people outside of you, or their conflicting belief systems that do not align with yours. For some of you, it will be an inner struggle, an inner conflict, blocks on the heart chakra, all blocks to your root chakra, all the rotten roots, all the rotten seeds that have been planted, or rather the roots that Ava says, for those of you who are here as a culmination life, seeing all the past lives, she says, we're actually pulling out the rotten roots from 10,000 years ago. We're pulling out the rotten roots from 5,000 years ago. We're plucking out all of the things that no longer have a place in your energy, because we are evolving, transcending, and descending beyond this. Please be aware. The Planetary Commission says everyone is attended, everyone has guides, everyone has angels, and everyone has different views and perspectives. It is not, the purpose of this earth plane is not to say, hey, everybody believe what I believe. Hey, everybody follow this one rule. That's not what unity is about at all. That's not what any of this is about at all. This is not about making everybody believe the same thing and being in the same consciousness. This is about taking all the different dynamics and all the different experiences and all those different things and literally healing them, because it's all going into the melding pot of the collective consciousness, into the one infinite creator. And we are evolving, whether people like it or not, whether people know it or not, whether people understand it or not. And yes, this is going to be through some chaos. And I wish that wasn't true, but it is. It is true. Oftentimes, chaos is what forces us to surrender, because it strips us away from all need to control, all ability to control. It strips us of that so that we may surrender. Surrender is a power. It allows the universe to step in and guide you, aid you, help you, bring you people that you need, heal things that you need to do. Surrender is also part of the past lives, says Ava. The Planetary Commission says surrender is required, because at this point, as you relinquish the control or the need to punish, find justice, all of those things, once we relinquish the control of that, that's when all the light pours in. If I'm attached to control, is what I'm hearing. If I'm attached to controlling, or the need for somebody to see karma, or all those things, that's part of the rotten roots. That's like having no faith in the universe. And I will tell you, friends, the stuff that I have seen in the last, I want to say 2 years, From last year to this year, the amount of karma and dynamics that have played out is astronomical. And these are not necessarily things that I have seen in physical everyday life with proof. These are things that I'm seeing on the energy planes, on the spiritual planes. Stuff is getting righted. And yes, chaos happens because things are out of alignment. When things are out of alignment, it creates a chaos. When things are in alignment, there's a beautiful surrender and a flow. So it's not that these things are being illuminated or highlighted. It's that we're reconciling it, because that's the point. What's the point of illuminating something is wrong if we can't come in and reconcile it and find a better way to do it, or find a higher power? So this blue ray full moon messages, this is a lot of different messages for a lot of different people. Ooh, my whole body is on fire right now, and I have tingles. It's like lightning. You're so electric. That's what I am hearing. That is beautiful and incredible, and I love it. But these are the purposes of it. We're going to Ray 1. Ray 1s, you are actually here to transcend the wounded healer, reconciling the extreme duality and natures that have happened on this earth plane through this life, but also the culmination of multiple lives. It has felt difficult up to this point. It's about to get a whole lot easier, is what I am hearing the Planetary Commission say. As more and more people awaken to this, it also allows the illumination. There's somebody on here who's a Ray 1 who you feel like you've been having to illuminate for everybody all over the place. Like everywhere you went, it's like, fuck. Yeah, I'm swearing. Somebody on here, you're like, fuck, I have another person I have to illuminate. Why do all these people still need to be illuminated? Like, where's my peeps who get it? This is somebody's commentary that's coming out right now, and this makes me giggle. It's a divine feminine, and it's somebody who has experienced a lot of, you're healing a lot of wounds from the past. I want to say from your past lives, a lot. Your wounded healer is very, very deep. This is somebody who has older children out of the house, is what I'm hearing. You have an older son who has his own family, is almost what it's like, or his own dynamics. These are just pinpointers for somebody on here so that you understand that this message is for you. This message is for everybody, but more specifically, this is like I have this huge, massive team, and I have your higher self here, and you're showing me a giant bullseye target, and you're saying, I need to know it from outside of me because I know it inside of me. So instead of looking at all this darkness, I want you to see it as, I'm seeing my daughter sprinkle gold dust all over you. The divine is like amplifying you, giving you extra oomph, giving you all these beautiful things and illuminations, because if you hold on to it, it holds on to you. That's actually what's happening. If I'm holding on to it and I cannot heal those wounds, it's actually, that's how it holds on to me. If I've let go of it, it can't hold on because it holds no more resonance value anymore. Wow, there's a lot in this channel, friends. It holds no more resonance value. And whoever this is my daughter, Ava. For those of you who are new to the channel or don't know this, my daughter, Ava, actually passed away 13 years ago, and it's been a long journey for me, and I have completely let go of all of the deep, dark grief, and I've evolved beyond it and beyond all the suffering. She actually shows up as a guide for me. She is an intrinsic part of what I do and how I do it and why I do it. Not a lot of people will understand this, partially because most people have a lot of difficulty transcending or moving through grief when they lose a child. But there's also the aspects of those who have not lost children tend to not be able to understand the context of this either. And I have deep compassion for all of you as we illuminate this. The reason being is I want you to think about consciousness. When I leave my body, I'm still here. Y'all might still hear me when you're still on the earth plane. You likely will. We have limitations and perceptions associated with mediumship, what happens after we die, the different processes and the judgments we think we all go through. These are massive limitations that are going to be illuminated at this time. For example, somebody on here, you've been asking your loved ones for help and feeling guilt. I'm hearing guilt about asking them for help. I just want you to stop for a second. Here on the earth plane, friends, we're doing the hard stuff. Being here in a physical body, we're doing the hard stuff, the hard work, moving in physical 3D form to reconcile these things. All of your loved ones in spirit, all of your spirit guides, all of your teams, they're here for you. They're here helping you. If you need your grandfather to show up, that's darn well who's going to show up, because he has the right information for you at the right time. And that's his expertise from his different experiences through his different lifetimes. And the Planetary Commission says, giant green light on this. Somebody really needs to hear this message. When I call on my daughter, it's because I need help. At no point does she say, I can't help you, or any of those things. It doesn't work that way. Think about consciousness. I am forever. I can be in my space right here, and I can be in your home over there if I want to. This has been tried and true through multiple clearings, multiple mediumships, through quantum healing, through accessing past, present, and future. We are all interconnected. And when I say we're interconnected here on the earth plane in the physical body, you're darn straight we are, but it goes way beyond that. We are interconnected to anything and everything through the one infinite creator. That is a lot, which is why our minds and our logic and our psychology is not able to ascertain that, because how would we even function here on the earth plane if we had access to all of those things? Some people say, I wish I had all the answers. I promise you, you don't. You don't want to wish that you had all the answers to everything and all knowing of all things. How would you be able to function here? We have the information and access to the information that we need at the time that we need it for the purposes of the divine plan, our own evolution, and the one infinite creator. There is a massive amount of people who are going to be stepping off the step that they've been on for quite some time and expanding onto a higher view and a higher perspective. I am infinite. I am consciousness. I can be anywhere and everywhere, all at the same time. Whether I am in a body or out of a body, you, my friends, you and I, all of us here on the earth plane, this is not an easy task of a great awakening or an evolution or everybody waking up or healing wounds, transcending wounded healers. Some of us are here literally to support other people while they do this wound healing. Everybody has a different role. We're not all doing the same things. We're not supposed to think the same things all the time. These are all pieces of the collective consciousness that are required based on all the Ray 1 origination experiences that have happened on the 3D Earth plane. This is also why the Akash will be changing. Oh, that's why that thing came through in that other channel. Got it. I was thinking a while ago, my friends, sometimes there's things that come through and I don't really understand why it's coming through in that way or why that information is relevant. And it's not until a month later or a couple months later, something like this happens where they talk about one thing and all of a sudden the puzzle piece comes into place. That's what that piece on that other channel was about. It's for this piece that's going to be coming out in future channels to help people as they move through this period of ascension, the different processes and the activations, including the purging and the letting go, because we cannot open up to a higher expansive knowledge if we have not reconciled what's down here on these steps over here. I also wish to attune to a very important message for many, many souls here on this earth plane at this journey. Ray 1 frequencies. Stop and think about this. If we're healing our Ray 1 experiences, the origination, all these past lives leading up to this life, that means I'm healing me over and over and over and over. But it goes much deeper and much further. Ray 1s, these are the original aspects that we're healing. Understanding the Akash. We are healing all the origination from the Ray 1s through the Akash, the first experiences on the earth plane. We all have to evolve through that. So if you think about it, you're healing you over and over and over and over. And that person over there who's also a Ray 1, who had a completely different opposite experience of you on the other side of the world, did something else completely, has completely different views. One of those are a Ray 1 too. And they're healing all of their Ray 1 experiences as well. Not because it's the same as yours, because they're all different parts of that frequency. If we have 10 billion Ray 1s, this is what I'm hearing right now, the Planetary Commission says red light, go back to Ray 1, the origination of a soul's imprinting on the earth plane, all DNA imprinting that has created strife, suffering, darkness, segregation. Those are being stripped. I'm literally seeing somebody's spinal cord being stripped, because that's your main energy channel in the physical avatar. It's being stripped of DNA imprinting of past lives that are no longer going to be serving. They can be struck from the Akash because the knowledge and wisdom has been integrated and understood. This moves you to a different timeline. For those of you who are concerned about cycles and timelines, please do not worry about this. Every single day is a new opportunity to make a different choice. If you have missed a cycle, for example, an 8-year cycle, starting an 8-year cycle. Some of you may say that's a 9-year cycle, or what about this cycle? And what about that cycle? So I want to be clear, every single day is a new cycle. There's a cycle ending and a new cycle beginning. Today is a new cycle from yesterday. When I went to sleep, I was ending that cycle of my daily waking consciousness and moving into a new cycle as I awake each morning. Some of you were not only on an 8-year cycle, we're on a 12-year cycle, we're on a 27-year cycle. Some of you, I need to let you know, the bigger the cycles, we come to the minute, the seconds, the minutes. And there's cycles of days, there's cycles of weeks, there's cycles of months, there's cycles of years, there's cycles of decades, there's cycles of centuries. Now let's get to the big cycle here, which is like 26,000 something years. That is a massive cycle that's also happening at the same time. Like, think about the mind-blowing capacity of this. Never feel like you have missed your cycle. Every moment you have a choice to make. It is ending a cycle and beginning a new one with every single choice you make. When the gates are open, you can't miss the gates. Stop and think about this. Those purposes of those channels is to understand you're utilizing the energy to amplify it and push you through to your highest timeline. But there's also this aspect for those of you who feel like you couldn't quite figure it out, or you didn't quite miss it, or you missed the gate, or you missed the cycle, or you're on a different cycle. You're not supposed to be on the same cycle as everybody else. You're doing you. You're healing your Ray 1 creation, okay? You as an origination from the one infinite creator. You're on your own cycle. So am I on an 8-year cycle? Perhaps I am. Are you on a 10-year cycle? Perhaps you are. That does not mean my cycle is wrong and your cycle is right, or vice versa. What means is we're all operating on different timelines with different cycles that we're ending, new cycles we're beginning. Every time I take a breath in, if you want to go to the most minute, my breath in is a brand new cycle of the divine. And my exhale is ending the cycle that took place before that breath. Never be afraid that you've missed a cycle or missed a gate, because then you get into a state of lack. You get into that patterning. Remember the patterning? Ava says, go back to the patterning of you're following a pattern where it's everything that doesn't work out. We want to get on the pattern of everything does work out. And it requires you to understand the reason why everything does work out and the reason why we get on those tracks. Let's illuminate like the moon, Mom. The reason why we get on those tracks is because we make different choices and we think different thoughts that directly affect the choices that we make. If all of that negativity can be relentless and continuous, that's compound interest. This is one of my classes from a couple of years ago. Spirit is compound interest. Your thought forms are compound interest. If you are constantly thinking one thing, think of it in terms of finances in a 3D form. It's compound interest. I put this Ray 1 creation in here, and let's say you had compound interest of persecution. Compound interest, my friends. This is what we are culminating and healing at this time through the Great Awakening. We are transcending CHIRON, the wounded healer. Does that mean CHIRON does not exist? No. What that means is we're utilizing the energies to transcend this. This is all part of the Great Awakening. This is taking all the different pieces and facets of it. It's so beautiful. Focus on the things that you love about people. Start to illuminate and understand that every relational dynamic, observe, I'm hearing, sit back and observe, sit back and observe. Sometimes there is a time and a place for everything, says my guide. He says there is a time to feel the deep depths of the heart and to purge it and to let those things out and to acknowledge them. There's a time for that because it allows us to have acceptance, which then allows us to move into integration and understanding of a higher knowledge or higher power. There is also a time when you are faced with different emotions to be able to step back and observe it. This happens in the third dimensional aspect or the third density or the third pillar or third dimension of integration and understanding. That is when we have felt all of the emotions, gotten some information or illumination of a higher purpose of it, integrated it and understood it. The process of that requires us to stand back and observe. Ava says you must go deeper into this at this time, particularly with the extreme emotions and highs and lows that different individuals are experiencing. Many souls are going through this on the earth plane, Mom, she says. If we have our Ray 1 experience and we have our expression, so first dimension, second dimension, we have this expression of it. Some of you are in the throes of expressing it. expressing how it felt, expressing how you felt, all of those things. If we do not have that expression of it, we never have the ability to stand back and observe it. This is why that Serapis Bay channel about anger that was posted, I will link that video at the end here too. That was posted for a reason. It has to do with that second dimension of duality. It's expressing all the experiences or the direct result or response to or reaction. So the expression is usually the reaction. When we get to the responding state, that is actually the third dimensional aspect, which is the integration and understanding, because we cannot respond or have clarity when we're in the reactive state of that duality, the expression of it. But we need to have the expression of it at some point when we have an experience, because that's what allows us to come to that integrated understanding and evolution. Then we move into the fourth dimensional aspect, which is also the bridge to the fifth dimensional consciousness, from the third to the fifth. That fourth dimensional aspect is the transcendence. It's being able to take, I had an experience, I've expressed it, I've had the reaction of it, and then I'm now responding of it because I'm standing back and observing through that integration and understanding. And through that observation, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Then I can actually observe and understand how I had this experience. What was the outcome of that experience? Not just for me, but for everybody around me, internally, externally. How did it affect things? What was the cause and effect of it? That integration and understanding, that third dimensional aspect, we're here for integration and understanding of the first and second dimension so that we can transcend into that fifth dimensional consciousness. We all look at it as this darkness of this earth plane and all these different things. And well, yes, it is that. I won't disagree with that. This and that are true, says Ram Dass. The purpose of the third dimension, guys, is to have an integration and understanding so we can transcend through that fourth bridge, that fourth flow through, that fourth dimensional aspect to evolution of the fifth dimensional concept. We want to break this world apart for all the things that don't work. And Ava says, in truth, we want to understand why it was so broken or why we have not been able to transcend it so that we can move to the fifth dimensional consciousness. You are all beautiful, evolved, higher power. You are infinite and forever. I will see you in many lifetimes. Many of you I have seen in past lives. Whether we interacted or not, it does not matter. We're all interconnected. This is just a moment in time. Ava says, think about the candles, giving the candles of somebody trying to extinguish or put out somebody's flame repeatedly. She says, that is intrinsic of man's management of God. God is not the issue. Man's management of God is the issue. The reason why this is important to understand, when we think we can snuff out things and take from people and manipulate and coerce and have our things manifest and at the cost of somebody else, that's a man's management of God. That's man's misuse of their own divine innate power. And this experience on this earth plane, many of you understand this because it's been part of your experiences, whether you've been the oppressor or the oppressed, whether you've been the murderer or the murdered, whether you have been, all these different things, because make no mistake, many of you who are Ray ones, you have been all these things. I have been all these things. Friends, this is like a crazy, awesome, really big picture, but also bringing it down to the inner workings of it for each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel, you will notice that sometimes when I'm channeling, it's like the faucet gets opened. The faucet gets open for the information to come through. Most people take my channel